we went from doing commercial to residential to where in 2 years, during the COVID deal, we only picked up 2 commercial properties in 24 months.
So happy to have Jeff Lejeune from Greenup Lawn Care join us today. Jeff has scaled one of the largest lawn and landscape companies in the area, is just a great father, husband, leader, and just someone who's very kingdom driven. One of my favorite parts about the conversation with Jeff today was how he deals with very high demanding customers and almost looks at it as a challenge to almost prove them wrong and to ultimately meet their expectations and also exceed them. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, it's Armin with Attract. At Attract Advisors, we offer accounting advisory, tax advisory, as well as financial management services. We're lucky enough to work with very many hardworking, talented entrepreneurs across many different industries. Many of these individuals are world-class in their sphere and have great stories to tell. This is our way of highlighting their accomplishments and their insights, and we hope you enjoy these conversations.
Here we are. It is April of 2026, going into May of 2026, and we're coming off a crazy time with immigration and ICE, and I always felt like the ICE raids were everywhere else, right? The big cities and things of that nature, and I do know that in your particular line of work, and we'll get into it, kind of the genesis of it here in a few minutes, but like you made the news recently because of doing it the right way, and yet you're still suffering and getting the short end of the stick of just this like global, like basically system turned on its head. And so we're in the middle of it now. I thought it'd be a good place to really talk about, like, where are you at with your workforce and the business and, recent wins? I mean, let's start going back 6 months ago when we first started hearing about these ICE raids and go from there.
Yeah, so when we first started hearing about it, everybody panics, of course. But, doing it the right way for 20-something years now, using the visa program, you always wonder what's what's happening now, but what's going to happen, fast forward now to where we are coming into May, is that we know the program is under a lot of stress because everyone is moving to the program because, somebody like me that's been doing it for 20 plus years, the legal way, using the visas. Now everybody they have to start using the visa program. So we're actually flying up to D.C. May the 19th, I think it is, with a group of guys to go try to fight and get some legislation in it to where, people like myself and others that have been using it for so long, that we do have some type of seniority in this program. Right now, we have no seniority whatsoever. So you can go start a business, apply, you can get people before I do, and that's what happened to me this year. I got caught in a cap, and it has been, normally get 85 guys, and we're lucky and blessed that we're getting 35 out of the 85. Without those guys, Greenup does not exist.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because everyone sees the outbound of the trucks on the road and the advertising that is just a mobile billboard for you. I mean, everybody knows the name Greenup in town. And I think the immediate thought is, we're not struggling, but we're working to get more customers. When in reality, it's the opposite for our businesses and really for most businesses, it's the staffing and the retention and the talent piece. Yeah. And so was there a point of the growth of your business where you started worrying less about getting new clients and more about talent?
Oh, yeah. And even it changes so much year to year. How's it going to be this time next year? You could write a book on on what happens in 12 months. But yeah, the growth, and I thank God every day. The work has always been there. as long as we do what we say we're going to do. And, customer service and attention to detail is who Greenup is, So that's two things I tell the guys nobody can take away from us. We provide that, and the end result is you. As far as retaining guys, retaining people right now, I'm finding myself finally, after 23 years in business, that I'm working on the company instead of in the company.
Yeah.
And that's been a big help.
It only took you 23 years, but at the same time, it's like there's nothing to work on when you're building it, right? I mean, you got to be in it. Like, you have to be leading from the front and training your guys, and it takes a very special feeling, though, I think, of like humility and just consciousness and awareness to say, like, I'm ready to now work on the business. And but before we get to that, because I think that's like the key point I wanted to ask you today when I was preparing for that. But leading up to that, okay, the early days of Greenup. I mean, I've heard you talk about, literally at the back of your car, one mower. How did that turn into where it is today?
Yeah, it's I started in let's back up a little bit. So in 1998, I started. I graduated high school in 1995. Went to school, it didn't work out for me, and realized then, hey, what am I going to do? So I started cutting grass out the trunk of my car, and nobody sees that. So now we're 23 years into it, or even as Greenup, I'm 23 years in it, started when I was 98. But everybody sees, like you said earlier, everybody sees the trucks, the equipment, everything, but they have no question. They never saw the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it to get me to where I am today. And so now you fast forward, and so it's all about the people. I mean, it's not about me, never has been about Jeff Lejeune. It's all been about what we can do to make this business be successful, and how I can bring new people up and train them and just have, the best team in this surrounding area.
And it was a gradual growth for you, right? So one truck turned into two to three. I mean, was there a point within the last, say, 10 years, or maybe it was the flood of 2016, or like some point where you just looked back year over year and like, wow, I cannot believe we grew that much?
Yeah, so I hovered over X amount of number in revenue a year for, probably 10 years. Just never could break that point. And then COVID hit, and I saw what was going on. Everybody was going. We went from doing commercial to residential, to where in 2 years, during the COVID deal, we only picked up 2 commercial properties in 24 months. So I realized very quickly, hey, if we want to continue this growth trend that we're doing, we got to pivot. And I've been very good. I call it pivot. Every 5 years, I think you need to pivot. And we have pivot, and man, I've hit it every single time. And this time it was toward high-end residential. And so from the growth, it has just exploded since COVID, which I'm seeing another trend again. Like I told my team back in October of 25, I said, hey, look, I think we're at a position and a point where we need to pivot again, and now we're going towards the commercial sides coming back into play. Everything else is still there. It's just, hey, what else can we do faster, better than the so-called competition that's out there? So it's just trying to be ahead of everybody else, and what we can do and say what we're going to do and do it is the biggest thing, As far as the advertising and stuff, I only advertised during COVID, and I did it through a magazine here in town, in Register, and man, it just set me apart from everybody else.
Wow.
And that was the clientele that I wanted to go after, and it was a home run hit.
So what do you attribute that to? Because your clientele is in old Baton Rouge with these, beautiful, amazing houses, and then obviously a lot of new construction, and Baton Rouge is continuing to spread out. So is it COVID? Is it social media? Is it the fact that, like, when people take pictures of the kids in front of their house, like, they want the yard and they want the shrubs and the color and all to look great? I mean, how much of this is, you think, COVID related versus, say, social media, or is it just as a small town like Baton Rouge just continues to grow out, there just becomes more opportunity for people to have great houses and need that landscaping around it?
Yeah, I think I can go back to COVID. I think that really was the I guess the center of it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, it's the social media. It's the like you said, my clientele. Everybody wants my clientele, but it's a very demanding, very high expectation driven clientele, which I am that person.
Yeah.
I expect and I demand a lot. But just to keep everybody, keep us separate from everybody. But it's I think now it's a little bit of everything. It's, teaming up with a track to get us to where we were to where we are today has been phenomenal.
Now, I appreciate you saying that. Shameless plug. But so when we talk about, like, your facilities, like, okay, you had the spot on Airline behind the ice house and the little village and kind of outgrew that. So walk me through the train of thought in getting, like, this amazing facility where you're at now on Swamp Road, and the fear and the uncertainty of taking that leap, and then what it's done for your business since.
Yeah. So I was in that Airline location for 19 plus years. When I was out the trunk of my car, I was working out of my garage. Then I moved to Airline. And so we go back and look at that spot, a couple of times a year now. It's only been 2 years we moved, but golly, man, I don't know how we worked out of that facility. Trucks were on top of each other, office staff on top of each other, sharing offices. And, was looking for at least 10 years a spot, office, warehouse, yard space to find. And kind of the same general vicinity where we are now, but it's just not out there. You could find a yard and office, but no warehouse, or you could find a yard and just all three put together is hard to find.
Yeah.
And we found it off of Swamp Road, and it is it's been amazing. Moved into it 2.5 years ago, and never thought we would outgrow it. Yeah. And man, we're already starting to say, hey, to go another level, we're gonna have to do something. Yeah. And it's a good problem to have. But yeah, it's an amazing facility. I mean, it allows us to do so much more efficient. And then a lot of people live down Swamp Road. You didn't know live down there because you see them out in public and they always, man, you got an awesome facility. And yeah, I live back there. It's like, okay, only so many of y'all can live back there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's a spectacle too, right? I mean, it's all fenced in, obviously amazing landscaping, and it just looks like a truck dealership. I mean, how many trucks are you up to now?
Yeah, I have, so we run 20, 23, 22, 23 crews. We have about 30 trucks. So, yeah, it's an amazing place, though. It's an amazing facility. Yeah.
And so, the feeling of, how did you know you were ready to get out of that airline space and take this leap of faith? Because any business owner knows that it is a big investment to get something like this. It's like there's no negotiating when you make a big move like this. Like, it's sink or swim. Yeah. And you guys obviously, invested a ton in building out the offices and the paint job and all of those things. Like, what was it that made you feel like you were finally ready to take that leap to this facility?
So that's a funny question. So I always worried, man, I can't move. And when I say move my office, I can't move my office because if I lose this property, I can't afford it. And so once I finally got that out of my head and said, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it in faith, and this is what's going to happen. And it's just like, it's been just dominoes from that day forward. I mean, it's been a lot of, positive, a whole lot of positive.
So you finally step out, and it's like not something that just clicked for you, but it was like all of the work that you had put in to build up that clientele to where you were no longer beholden to, say, one client or one set of properties. But with that comes, like you said, the high expectations and the high demand. And so this is something that we even most recently have experienced. And, we're a young company. We're 4 years old. But, like, you go to chase this work, and you get the work, and you do a great job, and yet the expectations are just not aligned with reality. So for you, moving into that high-end world, I mean, I think you have the highest expectations of yourself, probably more than anybody that I know. But we both know that there are some people out there who say that that's not enough. And so how was it for you dealing with, like, getting into these high-end residentials and having every now and then, like, just this crazy, unreasonable customer that, like, no matter what, like, it's all perfect, but, like, one little thing is wrong? Like, how do you manage that? And is that a client that you keep? And do you use it as motivation to say, well, they're just holding me accountable and it's painful and I'm gonna keep going through it? Or is it like, I really don't need this headache?
So, you can look at it both ways. You can look at it as, it's a headache, but that customer got me to this point, and without that customer, in good old Baton Rouge, who everybody, hey, that's a buddy of mine. Well, they're doing a great job for us. Let me, here's his number. Give him a call. And that's a lot of how we've grown as well. It's just word of mouth. But just like you played ball, I played ball in high school. I take it as a challenge. I love a challenge. And it's like, when I was small and I was working out there myself in the field, it's like, give me the challenge. I'll prove it to you myself. Well, now it's like, hey, I know my team can do it. All I ask is for the opportunity, and the details and the results will speak for themselves. And that's all I can ever say, is that if you give us the opportunity, the rest will take care of itself, which is I always take it as a challenge when I meet people like that, because a lot of times, obviously, they're very successful. And to be able to, hey, if I can make that person happy, then we can make the rest of them happy. And that 10% sometimes will take a lot from you as an owner also. And then, it does become a, hey, you got to weigh it out type deal.
Have you had to let clients go before for just being crazy, unreasonable, or disrespectful to your team?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Yeah, I have. We had a situation not too long ago where it's like, they just came guns a-blazing. Your guys did this, and he even sent the camera footage, emailed it to me, and plain as day, it was not my guys. My guys are all in uniform, caps, shirt tucked in, everything. This guy wasn't, and man, I fired right back. So I always tell my team, hey, I have your back 100%. And I just expect the same in return, because I will support them until the customer proves me wrong. I'll support them all, and it has to be that way. They have to know that starting their day out. Hey, my boss has my back 100%. I'm gonna have his back 100%.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And so part of working on the business instead of in the business, which I know as of the last couple of years, you've made even like more strides to get to that point. But what was it like for you where in the beginning you were cutting you were doing all the yards, and then all of a sudden you hired somebody, and then maybe they showed up with you, and then after a while you kind of, went to the background a little bit more, and then this next person took over, and then a team beneath them. What was it like managing that? And did you have like a lot of turnover with clientele at that point because they wanted Jeff to come cut their yards?
Yeah, and that's the problem I even have today, is that one of probably the first mistake I ever made, and I never dreamed that my company would be this size ever 20-something years ago, but I put my cell phone number on the side of the truck. Yeah. So, but even today, it's like, hey, I'll go out and meet every customer. Mm-hmm. I'll go meet on the first meeting, I'm there. And then I hand it off we come as a team and we walk the property, big or small, and I hand it off. And at that point, I'm all about chain of command. The customer you have your account manager, and this is who you need to call. There's a couple levels in place before they should call me. Does that happen every time? No. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the weekend calls, the after-hour calls, which at first I was, hey, I got to do it, I got to answer it. And I still, to this day, have it. It's slowed down a lot because I've put the right people in the right places. It's still room for improvement. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my clientele is that. And that's the kind of customer service I give them. And it's, but what I'm learning is when you're small, you can do that. But the bigger you get, man, it'll just, you can't do it all anymore.
Yeah, there's a limit, right?
There's a limit. And even having the people in place, they still want to go to Jeff, mm-hmm. Jeff. And I'm like, man, look, Jeff can only do so much. Yeah. And it'll consume you.
Yeah,
it will.
From a time capsule perspective, like that's kind of where we've been at Attract for, I'd say, maybe the last year or so. Like I could really get out of doing a lot of client work. I still do some, but a lot of the folks who I brought in, and I would service them, when I brought the team on, even though the team's great and we hold up to the process and everything like that, a lot of them still want to reach me, and then they get upset when I'm not as reachable as I was before, and so then they decide to move on or bring it in house or whatever it is. But we could never grow if it was only the Jeff show or the John show, and so I was just curious about your growth in that. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that obviously we've been friends for 4 or 5 years now, and there was something pivotal that happened in your business whereby you got this amazing, well-educated person who just so happened to be an attorney and just so happened to be your wife to step into the business. Yeah. And so talk me through that. Like, what was that conversation like, for Jody to leave her role, as an attorney and step into a business that was your business, and yet, as far as I'm concerned, it's just been a game changer for the company. What was it like, those conversations leading up to this transition?
It was I don't know how to say it. It was life changing. Yeah. It was life changing. It was life changing, and the timing was absolutely. I mean, you could not paint a better picture of how, hey, this is a situation we are in right now, and this is what we want to do. And, you go back and, she's been with me 2 years now, and this wouldn't have never worked out 3 years ago. That's just how much the company has changed. I mean, just everything you can imagine, from a financial standpoint to our life of our kids, our life of our marriage, just every single thing. And it was just like, it was almost the way it was supposed to happen that way, and then, like you said, having an attorney on staff, it's just, and being your wife is just, it's no other way. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say through the years, like, oh, I can never work with my wife, And yet, I mean, you look at you and Jody, or you look at, Guy and Lisa Oliver. I mean, they're like the dynamic duo. And I mean, we've heard Guy, just talk about, and publicly, like what bringing his wife into the company has done. And for me, outside looking in, and I guess now I'm on the inside, and so I could see it even more of what's true, is that this gave you the opportunity to really work on the business, because it wasn't just the Jeff show anymore. I mean, Jody can handle any issue, and she can, manage the accountants, and she can deal with the invoicing, and she can deal with the crew and deal with the bank and all these types of things. And so for you guys though, was there some fear there of working with a spouse, and like, how have you guys gotten past it and just done it so successfully?
Yeah, there was a fear there, and I'm more of hurry up, make a decision, and move on. Jody's the type person that'll, let's analyze it, and let's, think about it, talk about it, come back and revisit it. And I'm like, hey, you wanna come on board? Okay, let's go. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. And we've grown. Just her and I have grown a lot. The biggest thing I think of is knowing how to turn it on and turn it off. Like, you have your time, family time, when you go home and they're like, hey, that's it. We've been working together all day long. And it's not like, and that's another thing. Like, I'm out in the field a lot. That's what I love. I'm in the office maybe 50%, maybe 40% outside, 60% or 70-30. I love the outside. I love to see the results the team is doing, and it's just a good 1-2 combo. Yeah, it really is. But I'm seeing a whole lot of this, fighting this visa program. You're meeting a lot of folks, getting closer to the, your people here in town. I don't like to say it. We use the word competition, but I really don't like it. Everybody has their niche, I call it. And just stay in your niche and you'll be fine. But but you're seeing a lot more. I think the last 3 to 5 years, a lot more husband and wives working together in every industry. I think it's just where we are today with, just trying to find good help. And then what I'm also seeing is kids coming into the, like Guy and Lisa. I mean, those kids, man, I love that. And today is the last day for my twins. They're graduating. So it's like, y'all go to school and then come back because dad is ready to retire. Yeah. So it's good, man.
And it allows you to do what you do best, right? Like, you love being in the field. You could bid and estimate any job, and you could win the customer over because they know that, like, they could feel how much you care.
Right.
But they can't feel how much you care when you're on the phone and you're dealing with accountants and payroll and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a testament to the open-mindedness of you, and to accept that. And then obviously for Jody to just be great at her job too, like at her role. For me, it's so cool to see spouses work together successfully, and then to see the fruits of it, right? To see that, in a time when, all the chips were down with, the ICE and the visa issues and stuff like that. And yet, we're still refining the business and growing it, keeping great people, keeping our clients happy. It's just really amazing to watch and to be a part of.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, and bringing y'all on board, I wish I'd have done it when we first met, but that is one of the things I do, as far as, because it's a huge trust factor, right? I mean, we're just opening up everything to you, and you and your team, y'all do an amazing job, and we're just into this thing a few years. So, it's like, hey, where we're going to be 5 years from now, and that's going to be the fun part. Yeah.
And then you guys being open-minded enough to, bring on some software improvements and, field work, field service software improvements. I think that in a world where there's just a lot of roll-ups, right? Like a lot of firms and or landscaping firms and landscaping companies are getting rolled up in, private equity and things of that nature. Isn't it creating some margin for you to just kind of not eat up the work, but basically it kind of finds its way to you, right?
Oh yeah.
There's something to be said for that, not the largest, but up and coming, because you could be selective with the work that you bring on. And I think that's something you've really focused on a lot lately, is being more selective with who you work for.
Most definitely.
Because it's like, in the beginning, we got mouths to feed. I mean, you got 3 daughters, I've got 3 daughters and a son. Like, I can't say no. Like, what if this opportunity passes me by? But has it been hard for you to tell people no, or that you can't do it, and you just ultimately get over it by saying, like, look, it's you or me, and I'm gonna pick me and my family over extending myself beyond this, or doing a bad job at damaging my reputation, which turns around then it hurts my family anyway.
Right.
But still tough, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's very tough, because, like you say, I mean, we take what we do, I mean, very seriously. We love what we do. Just recently when I didn't get my guys, I mean, we cut a ton of work a month, a ton, and that was one of the hardest things to do is cut. Second hardest thing to do is to tell somebody no. Because like you said early on, you want to grow, and sometimes it's not the smartest growth. And so learning that, and then, but boy, I tell you what, sometimes you tell somebody no, it is a ton.
It's a weight lifted off.
It's a weight lifted off, and it's like, oh my gosh, thank you, that wasn't so bad. And they're like, okay, no problem. You're just like, okay, was that easy for both of us? So it's just, but you got to get to that point, and it takes time, but, I mean, I tell people all the time, man, you can see those Coca-Cola trucks running down the road. There's a lot of them, but they got just as many problems as Greenup Lawn Care does too.
Yeah.
It's just the name. It takes a long time to get that name out there.
Yeah.
And that's what when they're calling Greenup or they're calling a track, they calling, because you do good work, The stuff that goes on behind the scenes, that's for me and you to worry about.
That's it. I still get nervous, though, when having to tell people no, or, just because it's like, I think back to 4 years ago when we were grinding on this thing, and my wife wasn't working, and like we would take everything that we could get. But it's just a level of maturity, and it's good to know that guys like you say, well, man, it wasn't that bad. Like, you play it out to be this big confrontational thing, and like you're playing chess in your head. It's like, well, what if he tries to appeal to me for, because his wife really wants it to happen, or, he struck out over here and here and really needs this thing done now at the last minute, and I'm like, man, it'd be cool to get that notch under my belt. But telling people no, I think for me is going to be the goal for like 2026, like the next half, because it's just part of the maturity of being a business owner, right? Yeah. You can't please everybody, and I don't want to overextend and let everything else suffer either. No,
it's true. I mean, especially like our kids are at different stages in their lives, but I mean, I can tell you, my twins are about to leave and go off to college, and then we're going to go from having 3 kids to 1. So that's an adjustment right there, not only for Jody and I, but also for the twins and for Olivia, the youngest one. So it's but like I've been talking a lot about, hey, it's just a season.
Yeah.
This isn't forever. It's a season. We got to get through this season. Just like when we didn't get all our guys. It's like, okay, maybe this is what needed to happen, and let's reset. And my word for 2026 was reset. So it's been good.
Yeah. So one thing that when I first met you, that one of the many things that I admired about you was like your humility to learn from guys in the business who have been doing it a lot longer than you. And you always seem to make friends with guys who were maybe in a couple decades your senior, to kind of guide you through. And I know for a while, some of them came in and worked in your company. Was being open to mentors something that you started off with right away, or did you just kind of grow into friendship with certain guys and you're like, hang on, this guy's my mentor?
Yeah. Yeah. When you have a lot of positive going on, you got to be careful because you can draw the wrong crowd. And also when you going through a lot of stuff, you can also draw a wrong crowd too. It's like, okay, where were you when this thing was exploding and growing like crazy? You had nothing to say then. Through the peaks and valleys, through the seasons, your friends change as well. But it's, as far as a mentor, I would never be where I am today without Greg Melanson.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just been someone who I got to know and to work with, and I mean, just to have it's like a walking encyclopedia, and just someone who is always consistent. He's probably solved this problem 50 times before. And was it just that, was he an equipment dealer when you guys became good friends?
Yes, he was. So he was an equipment dealer. So in 1998, I bought my first mower from him.
Wow.
And then we hit it off and still friends today.
Yeah. What an amazing guy.
Yeah.
And so, when we talk about mentorship too, I think something that, I look to guys like you for mentors for me. And that's like the best thing about having this podcast is like, it's really just a therapy session, disguised as social media and marketing and those types of things. But like, every now and then I'll go into Frank's, and I know that's kind of like your spot. But it's almost like when you go to Frank's in the morning and, you walk in and you got, chopping it up with all these guys at different tables and stuff like that. It's almost like a movie. Like I think about like How I Met Your Mother or something. Now it was a bar that they went to or something, but like, what's that been like for you growing that circle of friends over the years? And like, is it something that was intentional or just kind of grew into that? Like, how did that Frank's breakfast thing become so important to you?
So I think it was, was a very shy person growing up, and it's just till as the success has come with Greenup, I've become more open, and just now I see it kind of with my girls now. It's like, and even Jody sometimes it's like, hey, you don't want to go to this thing? Nah, I really don't want to go. And it's just not being just shy. And I'm like, hey, let's go talk. I mean, there's not too many places you walk in and you don't know somebody.
Right.
And so it's just, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You get out there and you never know. I mean, there's a lot of business deals done in Frank's.
That's right.
So there's, you never know who you're going to connect with or who you're going to meet or see. And one lead just leads to another type deal. Very good. And, a lot of them are, older friends as well. Just good guys wanting to help.
And then the tables have the roles have reversed a little bit for you now because, now there's a lot of up and coming lawn and landscape guys who look to you as the mentor. And I think it says a lot about you as a person to be so open and honest and, collaborative with some of these people who, you really pour into. And like you said earlier, I think it speaks to your mindset of not looking at them as competition, but more so just like, man, there's enough work for all of us to go around.
Right.
Is that something that like developed slowly over time, or was there a point like maybe during COVID where you were like, I'm not really worried about competition anymore because I see the opportunity that's out there? Like, was it like a light switch that flipped for you, or was it that like over time these folks who you started to see as maybe your competition back in the day, either were retiring or selling and giving more room for like the new regime, so to speak, of like collaboration as opposed to competition.
Yeah, it's so it's funny you say that because here I turned 50 this year and last week actually, and you already start thinking about, hey, what does it look like? What does it look like for the next group coming up? Is that going to be for Greenup? Is that going to be some of the staff we have on some of the people we have on staff now? Do I hand it off to them? Do some of the kids come in? Do they do it together? I want this thing to keep going. I do. I love the mentoring side of it, because it's. Yeah, I mean, I get calls every day. Hey, let me pick your brain about this. What would you do? And it's. I mean, I can tell you just from experience. It's just what works for us might not work for the next company. But all I can tell you is that after starting it in 1998 and now in 2026, you learn a lot. And but it is the mentoring side I really do enjoy. I see myself one day like being more of in a consulting role type deal with other companies in this industry, obviously, because I do like that a lot.
One thing that interests me about some of the field service software that we're moving towards is kind of like that mastermind approach, and they'll have like conventions and stuff like that. I don't know if it's worked this way for you, but I have seen other folks in similar industries, basically go off to another state or something and see things that work. And then we come back and we implement it here. And like nobody in our market's doing it, and it's no skin off their back because they're in a completely different market. Was that ever a thing for you?
So fighting this visa battle. So we're going to DC. So we find ourselves doing a lot of, I call it roundtable discussion, and there's one thing I'm not afraid by any means, and I don't think you are either, and I would hope nobody's ever afraid to open their book, so to speak, their recipe, if you will. Hey, how does Greenup do it? Because at the end of the day, every single person I hire, from labor on up to upper management, I tell them, hey, if it's a field worker, I tell them, look, at the end of the day, there's not one piece of equipment, tools, chemicals, materials, trucks that our so-called competition can go by that we can't go by. At the end of the day, you as an individual has to make that difference, and it's true. I mean, they sell John Deere equipment all over the world, but what are you going to do as a Greenup employee to make sure the end result is what we're selling and what that customer expects? I mean, you can go out there and tear it up too with the same equipment, or you can go out there and do an amazing job, and the difference is the employee. It's the employee.
And that was the thing too. Like obviously, for me, when I was in college, I started to really get interested in coaching college football, and I got to learn more about Nick Saban's family, and at the time Les Miles' family, and the things that made those guys tick. And they always used to host these coaching clinics where all of their competition would essentially come in and they'd reveal the scheme. Like you just said, though, they can't execute it. Like they know the X's and O's, but it goes far beyond that. And then there's this thought where Saban will teach you what he wants you to know, and you still get value from it because you didn't know it going in, but it might not be everything that he knows. Like he might be playing a little bit of chess, knowing that like, okay, if I teach another defense to do what I'm doing, this is how I would beat my defense. And so there is a little bit of like gamesmanship and competition as well. But, at least from what I'm seeing in the local market is, with the lawn and landscape companies is there just seems to be more work than ever.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, at a time when labor availability is down.
Yeah.
So where do you see this thing going, like in the next, let's just say 5 years? 5 years for Greenup. I mean, we're in the new facility. You know, we've got talented people in the front office. Our labor gets, I would say, more experienced every year. You know, I see it as an opportunity for you to, you know, chase your daughters around in college and, you know, go to the away football games and do all those types of things. And I think you've earned that if that's something that, you know, you want to do. But like for me, where I'm at in my business is like, I don't necessarily want to grow bigger. I just want to get better.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get my time back. And it sounds like that's kind of where you're at as well, right?
Right. Yeah. It's because I went through a phase is, hey, if I can do this much a month, I'll be satisfied. Well, we're 5, 6, 7 times past that. And it's like, you know, Jody asked me, not recently, but a couple years ago, it's like, will you ever be satisfied? Look at what your goal was 3 years ago, and look where you are today. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to get to a certain point where, and it's a fine balance and act. It's like, okay, I'm good here. I'm good at home. I'm good with, you know, Jeff's good, John's good, and then you can, you know, but it just, and some people do it a lot faster than me, you know, and I see it. I can sit on the other side of the table and say, hey, man, job well done.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I haven't gotten to that point yet. And he's 10 years into it, and I'm 20-something years into it. It's just everybody's different, you know. But I'll try to get as much as I can out of that guy, too. You know, but it is a...
I mean, it's a give and take.
It is.
And it's collaborative, but it's also a point of just security. Like someone else's success doesn't take away from yours.
Right.
And I think like being competitive and playing sports, I mean, there's a winner and a loser in a game, but when you really step out of it and you say, well, maybe the game won't play it on Friday night. Maybe the game was the development from a 14-year-old scrub into a 18-year-old young man who has values and has made a difference. Like if you just change your perspective on the game and you zoom out a bit, it looks different.
Yeah.
And when I talk to guys like you, it's just a different game. It's not about getting that big client. It's like, what does his wife say about him when he's not there? What does his daughter say about him when he's not there? You know, what do people at church say about him? And what do his employees say? And to me, that's just the real measure of success, right? Is what people say about you when you're not around.
That's right.
And so, man, this has been great. I loved hearing more about your story. You know, there were some things that I learned, you know, that I've heard this story a few times, but, you know, and then being able to encapsulate it into where we're at now in 2026 of, you know, 3 weeks out from getting the rest of our guys, and it's still not what we wanted, and yet, you know, we're still thriving as a company. I'm looking forward to the future freedom of you as well, and Jody, of being able to work on the business and not in it, and to just grow as people, man. So I appreciate you being here.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.